Coming up next on Making Moves, a JTA bus driver wins the top prize at the International Bus Rodeo in California. We'll show you how he did it. We're at the groundbreaking as JTA and Clay County join forces for a new park and ride facility. And a British TV crew flies across the pond just to get an up-close look at a JTA employee and her seeing eye horse. Yes, you heard it right. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. Stay tuned for those stories and lots more next on Making Moves.
Clay County has the second largest commute time in the state, and this will start to solve that problem. Regional transportation coordination will be the solution, and JTA is proud to be part of it and certainly part of this collective effort.
That was JTA Board Chairman Ed Burr talking about the importance of the Clay County Park and Ride facility now under construction near Fleming Island. Hello and welcome to Making Moves. We appreciate you joining us today. I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. JTA Executive Director and CEO Michael Blaylock will be joining us in just a moment. But first, more on the groundbreaking for that new park and ride in Clay County. With a nod toward a future with less congestion, thanks in part to a regional transportation vision, JTA joined forces with officials from Clay County and the Florida Department of Transportation to break ground on the authority's first regional park and ride. The facility under construction along County Road 220 and Sleepy Hollow Road in Clay County will initially feature express bus service between Clay and Duval counties with an intention of adding a commuter rail station at some point in the future.
To partner with JTA to deliver something like this is pretty amazing to us, and it's a big deal for Clay County. This is one of those game changers for us.
In addition to a future rail station, Clay County officials tell us they also want to add a county office building to that site. Construction of the park and ride is expected for completion by the end of the year. And you know, we just heard from Stephanie Kapolosis, who called this project a game changer in Clay County. Now, a park and ride and an express bus service, that's an awful lot. How exciting is that?
Very exciting, Joyce. It says a lot about the Clay County officials. I mean, they are really thinking toward the future, particularly partnering with us in getting this project underway. We've had this on the table for a number of years. Clay County purchased the land probably about 5 years ago. And so what this says is they're planning for the future. You're not talking about just a regional park and ride facility, but what we hope to do is that facility will serve commuter rail, as you talked about earlier, and also will serve as a local hub for those people that are living and working within the confines of Clay County. So this is a great partnership. It says a lot about the trust factor between Jacksonville and Duval County and Clay County, Florida Department of Transportation, the TPO, and I mean, it's just a great partnership getting this thing off the ground.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to that rail station kind of thing. So that's going to be wonderful. In other news today, Congresswoman Corinne Brown is one of the key federal legislators selected to work on finalizing a new transportation bill. We caught up with her at her annual job fair at the Prime Osborne Convention Center, where she told us passing a new transportation bill is paramount to adding new jobs here in the state of Florida.
Transportation is the committee that put the people to work. It is our only jobs bill that we're looking at. And once we pass the transportation bill, then the local people like the JTA can plan on the programs that they can implement. So it is, you know, for every $1 billion we spend, it actually generates 44,000 permanent jobs.
Back with Michael Blaylock right now. You know, we heard the Congresswoman say that the work that they're doing on that committee is so important, and it's so important to us right here at JTA, especially when it comes to future jobs. Explain that a little more.
Well, it's huge. I mean, Joyce, is hugely important, and I just pray that we can get a transportation bill out of Congress because it represents so much, not only to Jacksonville, but I'm talking about to the country. You're talking about trillions of dollars of infrastructure needs that needs to get underway, and the Congresswoman is correct that those transportation funding dollars does lead to employment and jobs for people. For Jacksonville, I mean, we have just within the last 10 years, we have probably gotten about $170 million of federal dollars to finance a number of our projects, from Wonderwood Expressway, completion of that project, to just recently we got $2.8 million to advance the completion of I-95 in Butler. So getting those dollars are really critical in terms of advancing what we're trying to do, because, I mean, the state doesn't have the kind of money that we need to do all the work that we need to do, and we obviously don't have all the money here to do all the things that needs to get done. So we have to get some federal support. So I'm really all fingers are crossed to try to get a transportation bill before the summer. Right?
Absolutely. That partnership is so important.
Critical.
The Regional Transportation Study Commission took its act to Yulee in Nassau County in May as the commission's various committees continue to explore the viability of creating a regional transportation authority here in Northeast Florida. The commission, made of members from each of the 7 counties in the Northeast Florida region, has less than 7 months to overcome some major sticking points before reporting its findings to the state legislature in December. The main hurdle, trusting that the plan will work equally for all the counties.
They're still kind of concerned. Some of the rural counties, is this a Jacksonville centric? No, Jacksonville needs the rural counties, and the outlying counties, they need each other. And as a region, you have a stronger voice and have more strength and have a better opportunity at developing your economy, which is a regional thing. Economies don't stop at county lines.
Proponents believe that having a regional transit authority will allow the region to pursue state and federal funding for projects rather than each individual county competing against each other for those funds. And you know, it can be difficult, Michael, when you talk about navigating through all of those kind of trust issues, you know, the big guys against the little guys. It's hard.
But you know, Josh, there's a phenomenon that's occurring right now in the fact that this regional study commission group have been meeting almost for the past 2 years. And so a lot of those initial trust issues, I think they're pretty much well beyond that now. And I think it's just a matter of just trying to line up what kind of vision that everybody's going to agree to. But more specifically, I think they've made some huge advances in their ability to sit down around the table and find common ground.
There are few things more valuable to a company than a happy customer. That's why JTA staff recently said a big thank you to hundreds of its customers during its annual Rider Appreciation Day. This year, staff handed out water and snacks along with some trinkets at 3 of its busiest locations: Rosa Parks, downtown, Regency, and Gateway. If you travel in the Argyle area, that's where Blanding Boulevard meets I-295, then you know exactly why it's considered one of the most dangerous areas to drive in Northeast Florida. Well, now a new awareness campaign launched by the North Florida Transportation Planning Organization is aiming not only to get attention, but hopefully to save some lives. This public service announcement highlights many factors that make driving extremely dangerous in a 7-square-mile radius around the Argyle Forest Blanding Boulevard area. The awareness campaign was prompted by a TPO study that found nearly 1,000 crashes in a 4-year period in this small area, and a staggering 300 resulted in injuries or fatalities.
And one of the things that happened was we started finding out that at many of the intersections, the crashes were far in excess of the national standards or averages that are out there. But it was so consolidated in this 7-mile area that it sort of showed that there was just a significant issue. It wasn't single intersections, so it probably wasn't an engineering issue. It was possibly the behaviors of the drivers.
And the study confirmed numbers supplied by JSO officials. In fact, according to the time of day, commuters say that this area can be like a parking lot.
There have been times in the last year where it's taken me 45 minutes to go 4 miles from the road I live just south here on Blanding. So the morning commute is, of course, for northbound traffic is the worst.
Care More Driving Argyle is the name of the intensive safety and educational campaign consisting of a PSA along with radio spots, print media, and even a website aimed at getting commuters to care more, thereby saving lives and money.
So we wanted to develop a video that shows what it's like to commute through there, to deal with those driving challenges, but to also realize that at any given moment, any of us can be a careless or an aggressive driver.
Apparently, there are many problems in this area. Drivers we talked to point to uncoordinated traffic signals. However, the study points to aggressive and even careless drivers.
And these are folks that generally think that they're great drivers. But unfortunately, from time to time, frustration and carelessness when you're in congestion can creep up and cause crashes in the Argyle area.
Their attitudes, I wish they would be a little more compassionate on one another.
And apparently no one age group is to blame. The study found that drivers ages 20 to 50 are the major culprits for crashes in the Blanding Argyle area. Of course, the TPO is going to be tracking those numbers through September. They hope to see a 10% drop in the number of crashes. And Mr. Blaylock, they're saying that that could save more like $3 million. Are there any other things that you might know of that could help in that area?
Well, first of all, my hat's off to the TPO for really putting and supporting this awareness program. That's very, very important. The other thing is we have a number of projects that are still remaining in the Better Jacksonville program that's involving the intersections at Collins Road, 103rd, and the Argyle Forest area. So, I mean, once those funding becomes available, then we can move on that. DOT is doing a tremendous amount of work out there now at the interchange I-95, 295.
Right, right.
And so there's a number of things that DOT has underway in terms of improving that. And one of the other major projects that we're looking at is in terms of signal prioritization along Blanding Boulevard. And so that's something that we're going to bring back to you later on. But that can bring a significant amount of improvements in that area.
And that was certainly one of the things that many of the drivers said when we talked to them out there.
Absolutely.
Next on Making Moves, we'll find out what motivates some Mandarin residents to leave their cars at home and choose to ride JTA each day. And a JTA bus driver is named the best in North America. You'll meet him coming up next.
When you've been around as long as we have, you learn to take some punches. You learn you're not always going to get it right. But the most important thing is to remember why you're here and to never quit trying. When they said we were building the bridge to nowhere, we didn't just throw up our hands and quit. No, we kept going. And when they told us not to build the new road to the beach, that there was nothing out there, we had the vision to see what it could be. You see, sometimes you have to go against the conventional wisdom and trust your gut. It's important to believe in yourself and know that you're doing the right thing, even when people don't always share your vision. Sometimes, despite all your hard work, things don't work out like you planned. Well, we don't quit then either. We keep trying until we can make it work. Nobody has to tell us. We know that people are counting on us to keep trying. There are people counting on us to build that bridge, to get them to work or school, and return them home safely to their families. There are people counting on us to think about their needs. Oh, not just for today, but 10, 20, even 50 years from now. That is what we do. We are JTA.
You're watching JTA Making Moves, honored by the American Public Transportation Association with its 2011 Ad Wheel Award.
We've all heard that practice makes perfect. Well, JTA bus operator Ramon Farfan is a true believer. At last year's International Bus Rodeo, Farfan finished 4th overall. Good, but not good enough for the 12-year JTA veteran. So he kept practicing his skills until his goal of being champion was finally realized last month at the 2012 International Rodeo in Long Beach, California. Making Moves has the inside story on Farfan's historic journey to becoming a champion driver.
On his bus route, he's known more by his badge number, Operator 1891. But veteran JTA bus driver Ramon Farfan is much more than just a number. He's a champion. 5 years ago, Farfan took his first stab at the local bus rodeo, which challenges the driver's skills behind the wheel. Since then, he's won 2 state titles and finished in the top 5 at the international competition. But Farfan craved more, and last month in Long Beach, he got more. Farfan worked out all the kinks to bring home the International Bus Rodeo Driving Championship to Jacksonville and the JTA.
It's very difficult to do. It's not something that anybody could just go up there and compete and win. It takes years of experience and practice and a lot of dedication.
Farfan showed us some of the winning maneuvers that helped him win this year's title.
The first 2 obstacles were real hard. The right turn and I think it was the left reverse. Those 2 were giving everybody problems. And when I did the right turn, I got it, and then the reverse, I got it. And then I was like, wow, well, I could probably do it.
While Farfan did the award-winning driving, he says he received invaluable coaching from the only other JTA operator to ever win the international driving title, Kent Stover, who took home the title back in 1994.
Ramon and I discussed it, and one of the things that you do is you drive the course in your head. You drive it through a couple of times, and then you work out each problem and how you're going to attack that particular obstacle that might be a challenge for you.
JTA is, of course, honored to have the International Bus Rodeo champion, but we wanted to know what his riders think of Farfan's award.
I am very, very proud of him and very, very excited.
It's an honor to be on a bus with a man who has been awarded for driving and doing what he does best.
In Jacksonville, Bill Milnes, JTA Making Moves.
In the history of the event, Florida has won the International Bus Rodeo competition on 3 occasions. JTA now has 2 of those wins. The best in North America? What a tremendous accomplishment, and look at the smile on your face.
Well, this is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
And it's a big deal not only for the Transportation Authority, but it's a big deal for Jacksonville. To have Jacksonville placed on an international front is huge. I mean, you're talking about competitors from around the country, not just North Florida, but from around the country participating in this event. And for Ramon to advance at the level that he did is just absolutely incredible. And you know, Joyce, I always say this, that Mr. Farfan represents what I think the majority of what our bus operators try to do in this community. I mean, they strive for excellence, excellent safety records, and a high level of professionalism. You're going to find the majority of our operators represent what Ramon is demonstrated in this international competition. So I think it's good for Jacksonville, it's good for the authority, good for Ramon, for his entire family, and good for the community. So it's just, and I love competition, and I love competition where you win. So that's good news for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. And he is a winner. I mean, you can tell he's a winner because he never stopped trying. He never gave up.
Well, and that's the most important part, because having placed 4th the last time, I mean, he kept practicing. You would see him out on the course, I mean, weekly, on his own time, trying to learn the different skills. And it's very, very competitive, very competitive. So I'm really proud of him, and, particularly his persistence.
Absolutely.
Okay.
JTA provides in excess of 12 million passenger trips each year, and a large chunk of those trips are out of necessity. But there's a growing number of riders, like the folks you're about to meet, who choose to ride JTA. They all have cars, yet ride JTA to work every day and say they wouldn't have it any other way.
If you drive your car to work, chances are you can relate to this. Gary St. Arnold certainly can. He fought rush hour traffic every day, twice a day, for far too long, he says. Then something happened that changed everything. You might say Gary was rescued.
I was rescued all right.
Gary is a case manager at a downtown Jacksonville law firm.
I had never ridden a city bus in my life until a coworker suggested it.
Well, we're looking for dates for mediation.
That co-worker is Donna Flores.
Gary was complaining about the price of gas and also the traffic coming to work.
It's just a hassle. You got to get in your car, you got to drive to work, fight traffic.
I said to him, Gary, you know, I don't worry about the price of gas anymore, and I definitely don't worry about driving anymore. And he says, really? I said, yeah, I take the bus. He said, the bus?
They walk about 2 blocks from the office to catch the bus home.
And I get to work much quicker than if I were driving myself, and it's really relaxing. So he started taking it, and he's been taking it ever since, I think.
I probably never would have thought about it.
Something happens when you ride the bus for a while. Over time, strangers become friends.
The people that ride my bus have been riding the bus for 10 years or more. On birthdays, you know, we have cards that we pass around, and it's just a big family. And I really enjoy the friendships I've made on the bus.
Gary's totally sold on riding the bus and credits Donna.
It was her suggestion that made me try it.
That's right. I have another friend to ride the bus with.
It's a nice experience. It's relaxing. It's efficient. It always runs on time. It's just an easy way to travel. I'll often chat with fellow passengers because I know a lot of them work downtown. And when I'm not talking to somebody, I have my earphones on, and I often fall asleep and take a nap on the way home.
And dreams of money he's saving.
I'm saving over $2,000 a year just in gas alone.
If Gary had told Donna thanks, but no thanks, he'd be missing a lot. He didn't say that, and here's how his day ends at a JTA Park and Ride.
Yeah, when the bus reaches its final destination, I can often look out the window and I see my wife and the dog that have walked from the house, and they're in the parking lot waiting for me, and it really doesn't get much better than that.
In Jacksonville, Terry Casey for Making Moves.
Well, still to come on Making Moves, a British TV crew comes to Jacksonville to get a look at a JTA employee and her seeing eye horse. Yes, you have to see it to believe it. We'll be right back.
Finally, we had a weekend away, and we couldn't wait to see what Jacksonville had in store. We jumped into a cab and cruised downtown. They had a huge jazz fest, and everyone was dancing in the streets. We went to this Riverside Arts Market. There were all these farmers with local fruits and vegetables. Just amazing. We had a private wine tasting, and then we were off to this beer fest where the locals just took us in and made us feel like one of them. The Skyway was a pretty cool way to see the city. We escaped on a water taxi with views that were just spectacular. Then we plunged back into the city for the game of a lifetime. Thing is, we didn't get away from anything. We got away to everything. Have your biggest weekend ever. Visit Jacksonville.
That was awesome.
Welcome back to Making Moves.
Programs, rosters.
There's nothing like going to the baseball grounds of Jacksonville to watch the Suns play. That's especially true when it's JTA night. In what's become an annual tradition, JTA and the Suns partnered to ring in the summer baseball season and promote JTA's Youth Star Card. JTA gave away Suns tickets to customers who purchased a Youth Star Card. Well, what does it take to get a British television crew to pack up its gear and fly across the Atlantic for a story? How about to check out a guide horse for the blind? Well, that's exactly what happened a few weeks ago when a crew from the ITV network in London came to Jacksonville to visit JTA employee Cheryl Spenser and her service animal, a miniature horse named Confetti. Show producers say they are anxious for British television viewers to see how well Cheryl and Confetti manage day-to-day activities.
We'd heard about guide horses in the UK, and people have been trying to get it off the ground for the last 10 years, but it's never really succeeded. And then we found out that there were some people in America who had managed to train a horse as a guide horse, Cheryl being one of them. we spoke to Cheryl, and the story was too good to not come out and meet her.
Cheryl Spenser works as a customer service representative in our paratransit division. The segment with Cheryl and Confetti is expected to air on the ITV network later this summer. Time now for some final thoughts with Michael Blaylock.
Joyce, let's go back to the story on the Clay County Park and Ride station. And it says a huge amount for the officials of Clay County. It says a lot about how we have grown as a community, as a region, in terms of at least starting a conversation specific to how we want to build out Northeast Florida, and what kind of transportation system or vision that we have for Northeast Florida. And despite of what is occurring with the economy today, I mean, North Florida is going to grow. You're going to see growth. You're going to see prosperity come back. You're going to see jobs come back. You're going to see companies coming into the region. And to support all of that, you have to have a good transportation infrastructure system. Specific when we talk about the Port Authority expansions, all the ideas for the Port Authority expansion and bringing those ships into Jacksonville, that freight into Jacksonville. When you talk about the expansion of the airport and CISA Commerce facility, all of those things are going to need a good infrastructure system to support that. So when we talk about Clay County has that vision. St. John County has a wonderful model now in terms of our partnership with St. John County with the Sunshine Bus System. And what Sunshine Bus System, they provide all of the local transportation, and they're feeding those clients and those customers into the regional network, the Jacksonville Transportation Authority, the service that we're providing there. And so you're going to see a continuance of that effort with all of those counties, Nassau County, Putnam County, Baker County, Nassau County. You're going to see all of those areas come together in terms of providing solid transportation for the region. So my hat's off to Clay County, my hat's off to St. John, all of our partners, all of our 7 county partners, Duval County included as well. So this is the mode, this is the way that we have to look at the future.
Oh, absolutely.
What we see today is not going to always be, and we have to plan for the future. So the discussions that are going on with the Regional Transportation Study Commission is going to lend huge advances for Northeast Florida as we compete globally for the international market. So hats off to all of our partners. So this is the way to go.
Absolutely, and it just increases mobility.
It is, and I mean, when you're talking about if you can't move, you can't grow. And that's just really what it boils down to. So whether it's rail, whether it's roadways, whether it's public transport, it's all about mobility. And our ability to keep Northeast Florida mobile is going to be a huge advantage for us in terms of competing internationally on the marketplace.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. And that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. We hope you'll join us again real soon. If you missed any part of the show or just want to watch it again, complete episodes of Making Moves are always available online at jtafla.com. And of course, make sure to stay in touch with us on Facebook or our YouTube channel, which is JTA 904. For Michael Blaylock and the entire Making Moves team, I'm Joyce Morgan Danford. We'll see you again the next time we're making moves.